What's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We are here on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, the home of Coca-Cola, because guess what? We have the first drive of a midsize SUV that you have been waiting for. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2024, totally redesigned, all new Chevrolet Traverse. And guess what? This is the top trim known as the RS. But before we get into this all-wheel drive, first time ever equipped with 22-inch wheels Traverse, let's talk about what's going on here. As you know, the midsize SUV segment is a freaking war zone. You have all the big manufacturers coming to market with what they think is the best three-row midsize SUV. A lot of newcomers, a lot of redesigns, and finally, we see a new face of the Traverse. Now, the great news is, if you liked what Chevrolet has done with the new Trax that we brought you many, many months ago, a lot of that same style and technology has been brought over into the Traverse. Of course, there's some heavy hitters. One of them is the Kia Telluride. It's one of the currently top-selling mid-size crossover SUVs. Another one that received a redesign and a very unique power plant is the Mazda CX-90. So what I want to find out is, did Chevrolet do enough to the new Traverse, especially for the price, to make it the better buy over a Telluride or a CX-90? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our Traverse and find out. Right off the bat, the overall shape. It's gotten a little bit longer, a little bit wider, but still is manageable proportions, not as big as a Tahoe. When we get to the front of the business, it's that signature Chevrolet design that you're seeing. So you're gonna have LED daytime running lamps and turn signals in this top housing. On the RS, you're gonna get a lot of blacked out bits. And that's why Chevrolet wanted to make the RS like the top trim, is because of its really sporty nature. So a lot of blacked out bits. One of those bits is going to be the whole grille and trim area. And then working our way down, you do have LED projector beam headlights in this lower quadrant. My one zonk is, I wish they would have done something with this area. Put a fog light, make it functional, something. Maybe even do like a double stacked LED headlight. Down below though, you do get some more gloss black trim and functional corner air curtains. When you look at the shape, it really plays into form and function working very well together, because you can see that nice crisp edge, the way it extends out for the headlights and for that airflow really kind of gives it a nice sporty look. Definitely more aggressive looking than the front of a Telluride. Now we continue our way in front of the grille, and like I said, RS, what does it stand for? It stands for Rally Sport. You're gonna get this gloss black grille, fully functional with a forward-facing camera. I like the way they blacked out the bow tie. That goes all the way back to 1903. Louis Chevrolet creating a company, a car company based on his own name. Very interesting story, what happened to Louis Chevrolet. By the end of his career, he was working on the assembly line in one of his own factories. It's kind of a sad story, but definitely the brand still exists to this day. We have the RS badge. What does that stand for? Not really smart. Rally Sport. So what Chevrolet is hoping is that you're going to be really smart and go with this new Traverse. But what they did was they continue a badge that goes back all the way to the 1960s. Rally Sport has always been that sporty appearance badge, even on Camaros. You go back to a 1969 Camaro SS, you can get an RS SS. So what do we have? You have that red badge, the gloss black, working our way in the midsection, even on the lower portion, more gloss black, but it is fully functional with active aero shutters to help with fuel efficiency and airflow. 6.7 inches of ground clearance. So if you want a little bit more ground clearance, there's an all-new Z71 equipped Traverse as well, and we have a review of that one coming as well. So on the RS, 6.7 inches. Now, as we rise up, I love the clean design of the hood. It doesn't extend too far out. They kept the hood nice and high. A lot of midsize SUVs, the hood sort of slopes down. I like the bolder, broader lines of the hood. Kind of makes it fall more into the Tahoe appearance. You got that peak in the center and nice indentations on both sides. And of course, this radiant red is to die for. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with when it comes to wheel and tire setup? So for the first time on your Traverse, you have 22-inch wheels. I like the V-spoke design, gloss black. And if you're wondering what's the size of the tire, you're basically looking at 275 on the width, 45 series sidewall, and they went through all four corners, changing the suspension, changing the chassis, making it more rigid to give a better driving experience. But let me know what you think about the 22-inch wheels. First time on a Traverse. Now, when you go RS, you're gonna get the gloss black around the fender opening. I don't mind it. It matches very well with all the other black bits around the vehicle, and it doesn't come up too high. But let me know how you feel about the design of the wheel and this particular color, especially when you're comparing it to the CX-90, because CX-90 has that artisan red color, and of course Mazda has soul red. But I'm definitely liking this Traverse compared to the Telluride. I just feel like it looks more purposeful. Now, as we continue down the side of the vehicle, you have gloss black on your mirror caps. I like the way they did the LED turn signals, 360-degree cameras. And you're just gonna get gloss black trim around the window openings, only on the top. Color matched on the door handles. And then that Traverse name in gloss black, good placement. And I also think it was very smart how they curved that lower side all the way under. But from the side of the vehicle, you can see that extra length. They wanted to make sure they kept the length because there is some mega size room, not only for your passengers, but also for your junk in that cargo area. Now, of course, you're gonna get raised roof rails, and they are gloss black. That goes without saying because this is the RS trim. Working our way towards the rear, the vehicle does have optional all-wheel drive. So you can get front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Z71 has a specific all-wheel drive system, so make sure you see that review because we do some off-roading here in Georgia with that vehicle. But this one for the street has your all-wheel drive. It's front-wheel drive based, and it will send power to the rear wheels when needed. Speaking of the rear, this part of the vehicle really speaks to me. I like the way there's not just a ton of glass. It's good to have some glass for the third row passenger, but I like the way they brought the body color up high. Really gives it a unique look. And then as we swing around back, nice and wide, this is where they did some things super well. First of all, love the waterfall effect on our full LED lighting, turn signals, the whole shabam. Up top, you're gonna have that roof spoiler, and they hid your third brake light in there. And of course, we have a digital rear view mirror camera right there. That's not for the backup camera, that's for the digital rear view mirror, and a washer. You do have the exposed wiper. I wish that they would have done something to get this out of the way. Because think about it, if this wasn't here, the back would even look better. So let me know how you feel about the wiper. We got our RS badge, Rally Sport. And then on the other side, just like you see on the passenger doors, it says Traverse all-wheel drive, because we have the all-wheel drive. My favorite part is as we drop down to ground level, you're gonna get that really good looking quad tip exhaust, slash cut, nice rounded square design, fits the lower bumper area very well. You compare that to the Telluride, this is what I always talk about. It's nice to have the exhaust on both sides. The Telluride just has the exhaust on one side. I don't like that. I like the quad tip exhaust, and then you do have the cover that comes off because you can tow up to 5,000 pounds with this Traverse. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk horsepower numbers of this redesigned midsize crossover SUV. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts to hold the hood open. Underneath the hood, this is the new piece of the puzzle. So the V6 is gone. What we have is a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline four. Now, there are a lot of brands that are downsizing engines in their vehicles. So that's nothing new. The challenge is that when you compare it to the Telluride or the CX-90, they still have 6-cylinder engines. So let's stick with the Telluride. That has a naturally aspirated V6, the 3.8 liter. It puts out around 295 horsepower. This has a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine that puts out 328 horsepower, 326 pound-feet of torque. That's 19% more torque than the outgoing V6 Traverse. Now, it's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. You could tow 5,000 pounds and 0 to 60 in about 6.9 seconds. MPGs, you're looking at around front-wheel drive, 20 in the city, 28 on the highway. For all-wheel drive, you're looking at about 19 in the city and 26 on the highway. So getting a little bit better MPG, but of course getting more torque and more horsepower than the outgoing V6 Traverse. But while we go ahead, we got the 4-cylinder turbo. Let's fire it up and see this thing roll. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Chevy Traverse, this being the top trim. And remember, there's 4 trims of the new 2024 redesigned Traverse: LS, LT, Z71, and RS. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking at a Telluride. I've been on the fence about it. I know I've read in the interwebs that there's certain Kias that catch on fire and people could steal them very easily. So I'm kind of iffy. I've always been a Chevy kind of person. I own a C8 Corvette. My kid owns a Camaro. I think that I want to go Traverse for my family's needs. But how much is this RS? Well, here it is. Starting price for the RS trim, Rally Sport, you're looking at an MSRP of $57,000. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. All new style, soft touch material, and I'm digging how that red trim matches beautifully with the radiant red exterior. Even the red stitching and the perforated material by the armrest, nice and soft. You do have some aluminum finish. I'm okay with that. And the door pocket is a decent size. You could probably get 4 varsity chili dogs and a large bottle of Coca-Cola to wash it down, and we have the Bose sound system. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, I like the way they worked the AC vents and brought the trim in. More of that red trim, very classy. And what's great is that it hides the fingerprints very well. Red stitching, because this is the RS trim. And then as you slide on in, there's your new technology. 17.7-inch infotainment system. Your Telluride has a 12.3. So you tell me whose is bigger. I like the way it's tilted towards the driver, but yet the passenger still has access. Full touchscreen capability, all the built-in Google goodies, including Google Maps. You hit your home icon, you can scroll through all the apps. And then, of course, in the RS, what's nice is we have ambient lighting. Remember how you were jealous of that kid in kindergarten that had the box of 64 Crayola crayons with the sharpener? Well, guess what? Now they get to be jealous of you, because at the press of a button, you could change the colors and adjust everything right there with your ambient lighting. It's like going to Baskin Robbins and eating all 36 flavors. Climate control. You could do touchscreen, or I'll show you in a second, you have real buttons. The one thing you don't have actual buttons for is your 3 stages of ventilated seats and 3 stages of heated seats. You have to touch the screen. I'm okay with that because it's an easy press. You don't have to search through menus, and you can adjust your dual climate on the screen. Plus, you could turn the rear climate on and off, which is nice. So I like the way you have that flexibility. And then cameras. 360, up top, on the sides, overhead. I mean, they have more cameras on this than when Armstrong landed on the freaking moon. So it's nice to have all of that ability to change the camera angles. That's out the back. You got your hitch when you're going to tow up to 5,000 pounds. So really cool to have that easy access camera, even trailering. Nice to do the light test. You got your checklist. They try to make it as easy as possible with this system. Now, working your way down, you got your start-stop button. You have your real knobs for your dual climate control. And then down below, check it out, we have wireless charging, even for the big phones. You can get your iPhone 47 Platinum, charge it there, USB-C, USB-A, and a 12-volt underneath a little door. Key fob, look at that, they did the blacked out bow tie. Nice to see the cohesive design, remote start. Down below, you have some storage. That's where you could put a 6-pack of Coca-Cola or any of the Coca-Cola products. Just don't get me the Coca-Cola from the 80s when they changed the recipe. You got your 2 cup holders to put your cans. This gloss black is a little annoying. And I don't know what other material would have been better to use, but it's just a lot of fingerprints and stuff. Open up the door. That's where you're going to be able to keep your Good and Plenty. I remember back in middle school, true story, 7th grade, I brought a Ziploc bag of Good and Plenty, and I was sharing it with my friends at lunch. And a teacher actually came over and thought I was handing out drugs. What in the hell was she thinking? But anyways, I guess today that's like a normal thing. Kids bring in drugs and just hand them out. And the teachers probably think it's Good and Plenty. Soft touch material, the stitching, open sesame. What do we have? You got a nice little tray here. This is where you're going to want to probably put like any tokens or trinkets. Maybe if you have, actually, holy cow, you could fit 4 cassette tapes in their cases. I remember my first cassette tape I ever bought in the 1980s. It was Michael Jackson's Thriller. I'll never forget that moment. Then I bought a Kool and the Gang tape. And I can't remember what was after that. Maybe Madonna or something. But put your tapes in there, 4 of them. And then you have tons of storage. You could easily put, I would say, 12 Beanie Babies in here. Or maybe some koosh balls. And if you don't know what a koosh ball is, look it up. Maybe even a Mad Ball. I used to love Mad Balls. My mom did not understand it, but I loved them. Seats, the leather, the stitching, the RS embossed, red, perforated, nice bolstering, full electric assist for the passenger, full electric assist, of course, for the driver. That goes without saying. You got your power shade for your panoramic sunroof. That is power as well. You don't have to turn a wheel to open up the sunroof. Back in the day, there would be some cars where literally you pull down a handle and you crank to open up the sunroof. Now, you just do it with a push of a button. Are we getting better as society, or are we getting lazier as a society? You tell me. Hopefully that's going to close. One-touch operation, so I don't have to hold my hand up there the whole time. And then, of course, we got a digital rearview mirror. A bug just flew in front of it. It looked like a giant Mothra from a Godzilla movie. But why don't you come over here at the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel with Super Cruise in this RS. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings, so you can let a friend borrow your Traverse RS. I do like the Chevrolet name badge on the sill. The one problem is the pedal box, no aluminum pedals. You just got like these rubber looking things. It's kind of weird. RS should have aluminum pedals. I mean, that's just a nice extra touch. It's like putting on earrings or something. You do have your seat control, especially for your lower lumbar. I like how large of a real estate they gave the cushions. And there's enough pushing for the cushion to hold your body up here. So that's good. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm swimming in space. Steering wheel, very sporty wheel. Thickness, this is the first Traverse where you could get Super Cruise, and we're going to show you how that works in this Traverse. Heated wheel as well. And then I like the way it comes to a flat bottom and you have the RS badge. Zoom in, Steven, show them. I can't zoom in for you. Very nice. Sporty. Paddles on the back of the wheel to go up and down that 8-speed automatic. And it is a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. Down below, you have your button to switch on and off your all-wheel drive and go into your different modes. And then, of course, your digital gauge cluster. Nice to be able to have as much information, a map, your adaptive cruise, or as little information as you want. And then when it comes to the modes on the infotainment system, you can see how you have these beautiful graphics. Sport, off-road. RS gets a special snow ice mode. And then, of course, tow and haul, and then we're right back to normal. If you get a Z71, it comes with a special terrain mode and a different all-wheel drive system with twin clutches. But why don't we get into the mid-row and see how much space there is in this Traverse RS. All right, guys, here we are, mid-row time, and the sportiness continues. I love the way the seats, especially with the red trim, they did a great job on the materials. You do have that captain's chair, and it's just wide enough for a human arm. So we're not gonna zonk it. Backs of the seats, the great material. You have some nice pockets back here. You could easily put, I would say, 2 mirrors. And the reason why you're gonna wanna put 2 mirrors back there is not so that you could raise egotistical children. It's because kids need to look at themselves and know that they don't need somebody to love them, that they need to love themselves first. And it's about inner beauty, not just outer beauty. And trust me, all the technology today is going against that, especially this AI stuff. What's the world coming to? What's nice is you have a little bit of a command center, 2 nice large cup holders. You got your AC control back here with a nice digital display, USB-Cs, and a home power source. The place where you lose to the Telluride is that you have heated seats, but no ventilated seats. There's actually no ventilated seats available in a mid-row of any of the trims of the Traverse. To me, that's a missed opportunity. But being 6 feet tall, love the amount of room, just like up front. Soft touch up here, which this is another area where usually brands go on the cheap and give you hard plastic. I like my armrest. The seats slide and they recline. But now it's time to get into that third row and see if they're gonna feel, the people sitting back there are gonna feel like peasants or serfs in that third row. Let's go check it out. Guys, time to get in the third row. One of the things I wanna show you, I'm gonna have Steven kind of zoom in. What's nice is you actually have a button right here. You're just gonna hit that. Nice electric releasing movement. And now we're gonna see just how hard it is if you're my height to get into the third row. Are you ready? There's no turning back. Here we go. Actually, not too shabby. I'm able to slide into my seat. Knees are a little high, but that's to be expected. This is a midsize. I feel like my knees are not as high as, let me get this vent's like blowing. I feel like I'm in a tornado. I feel like my knees are not as high as the Telluride. And the good news is that this seat can adjust. So I could get a little bit more room if the passenger in front of me is nice enough. Maybe if you give them $5, maybe $10. I have USB-Cs back here, 2 cup holders. I wouldn't say the seat is comfortable, but it's also not uncomfortable. I just wouldn't want to stay here for a long, long time. I think the saving grace is you got plenty of headroom, so I don't feel claustrophobic. I don't feel like I'm in my coffin. I remember when I turned 30 years old and my students thought I was like over the hill when I was still teaching high school. And I used to joke, and I'm like, yeah, I just picked out my coffin and my burial plot. Still got it. No, I don't really. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm living life and sharing some laughs and some passion. But it's all about the laughs. Speaking of sharing, let's get into the cargo area and see if Chevrolet wants to share usable space with you in this Traverse. All right, guys, time to get in that cargo area. We're gonna hit the button. Nice electric assist, raises on up, and you're gonna be greeted to a generous amount of space. And this is something that the engineers really wanted to focus on because they know your kids have hockey gear, soccer gear. You maybe have a carriage, maybe you're a golfer. I don't know, maybe you like to walk around and pick up tennis balls around tennis courts and take them home. Technically, that's called stealing. But what do we have for room? You got plenty. with the third row up, you're looking at 22.9 cubic feet of space. You fold the third row down, that's going to give you 56.6 cubic feet of space. And if you fold the mid row down, that's going to give you 97.6 cubic feet of space. If you've been doing your research, you would know that that beats the heck out of the Telluride. So let's see what special touches we have. First of all, you lift this up, you got plenty of storage. You could go get your 6-pack of Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Coke Free. I don't know how many different Coca-Cola drinks there are now, but it's getting a little ridiculous. I remember growing up, it was like Coke, and then when Diet Coke came out, that was it. We were fine with that. The worst part was when Coca-Cola changed their damn formula, and that's when all hell broke loose. But I like the way you have the storage. The problem is you can't use this as a cooler. There's no drain plug. So unless you're going to get a straw to suck all the melted ice out, I wouldn't advise putting ice in there. But it is a nice system to where it stays up. Look, Mom, no hands. I feel like a dealer, a blackjack dealer at Vegas, when they go to leave the table, they got to show that their hands are empty. Look at that. Bring it back down. On the passenger side, when you go RS, this is RS trim only, you do get electric folding seats. So you're just going to hit the button and they drop down. You got to hold the button, which is a bit of a zonk, but they do electrically go down. Steven, show them what we got. That's split 60-40 for the third row. And then you could also put down the mid rows as well. Something to think about. USBs for the third row, which is nice, with the cup holders. I tried to show you that in the back. But other than that, you fold down that mid row, you're looking at over 90 cubic feet of space. The Telluride tops out at about 86. So you tell me who has more cargo volume. Can't fudge the numbers. Hit the button. That drops down. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do a little super cruising and let's do a little twisty bit on throttling in this Traverse. All right, guys, we are inside this 2024 Chevrolet Traverse, this being the top RS trim. And what's incredible is that even with the 22-inch wheels, you're getting a very, very comfortable ride. And what that means is that they did a great job with the suspension, and they did a great job, of course, with the tire technology and chassis. It's not a harsh ride, feels very composed and poised, but it's also very comfortable as well. You have that new large and in-charge 17.7-inch infotainment system screen, well within reach. Plus, the fact that I love is that you're getting real deal buttons and knobs, especially for AC. And to me, that has to be something that's a necessity because you're using it all the time. And to go into the screen for the AC would just be a pain. All right, guys, here it is. I have it activated. We are super cruising down this 2-lane road. You know, we've shown it to you on highways, but this is the first time that I've ever super cruised on a 2-lane road. And I mean, it takes a little bit to get used to, especially around these bends, but you could see just how good of a system it is. I am gonna say that out of all the hands-free driving tech that's out there in the world, GM has the best with the Super Cruise feature. I like the way it's easy to activate. It's all one button press on the left of the steering wheel. And then I also like the way it's got the LED color to let you know what's going on. So green means you're good, it's active. Blue, there's usually something that is interfering, whether it's you're not paying attention to the road, because that's what that little device is right here, right above the steering column, or on the top of the steering column, is it's focusing on my eyes. It doesn't want me to go to sleep. It doesn't want me to go and sightsee. It wants me to keep my eyes forward. But by doing that, I'm able to have my feet off the pedals and my hands off the steering wheel. But like I said, it'll flash blue if it needs me to do something. And the fact that General Motors has now added tens of thousands of new roads since the inception of Super Cruise really shows their commitment to the technology. And like I said, to be out here on the outskirts of Atlanta and to be super cruising, it really is a shocking experience. But I guess the good news is, while the car's driving for me, I could, bring in the cameras. And even though this isn't the Z71 equipped Traverse, which is the first off-road Traverse ever, you still have the great cameras. And I like the way that Chevy lets the cameras stay on. Going down the highway, like I said, if you have any concern about the wheels being 22 inches and it being uncomfortable, I don't feel that way at all. It's a smooth ride. There's not too much road noise and there's not too much wind noise. So they've done a good job with new sound deadening material. And it's the rigidity of the chassis that helps cut down on the NVH, noise and vibration harshness. But I really feel like this is going to be one of those mid-size SUVs that you could take on that long family drive and feel right at home. All right, guys, been another great day here in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Falcons and, of course, like I said, Coca-Cola. But we got to thank the whole Chevrolet team for inviting us out for the first drive of this new Traverse. Let me know what you think. Are you going Traverse RS over a Telluride, over a CX-90? Let me know down in that comment section how you're feeling about this, because I know Chevrolet is very, very curious to see what you have to say. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being on the journey with us. We appreciate your support. We got to give it up to the man behind the lens. He's been flexing. He's been styling and profiling. Stephen Flood Photography. Follow him on Instagram. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.